Hi everyone, this is Farzin and this is my second video about authentication and authorization in .NET Core. So we left off here in from the previous record. So we added authorization middleware, but again we had this exception, and we found out that this exception is not very helpful if you are new in 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 authentication authorization. There are some jargon, or if you will words that if you are new they are not very helpful. For example, here it says no authentication scheme was specified, or no default, there is no default challenge scheme. And you need to add authentication with default scheme uh, to your dependency injection. Okay, to explain this, we need to go back and take a look a little bit more details to authentication subsystem or micro framework in .NET Core. Okay, the thing is, authentication is not very trivial. This micro framework is highly extensible, and it has its own base classes, services, configuration plumbing, and it's not very trivial because the authentication is not trivial. If you come back from .NET Framework area, if you remember, in .NET Framework, it was very simple. We could have form authentication, Windows authentication, and if we wanted to use another type of authentication, you had to create it yourself. You had to make anything by, uh, 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 create your classes yourself. But in .NET Core, the way that it is built is highly extensible. So it supports any type of authentication system. So how it supports is we have authentication hand. For each authentication method, we have a specific, authentication handler. So we have to take a look at different type of authentication system that we would need, uh, and it's and how. So the first one is cookie. It's the first and simplest one, because when you are using web-based application, the simplest way is having cookie in your browser, and your handler is supposed to add this cookie to your browser, make it secure, and uh, the next one is uh, remote authentications. Sometimes you need to delegate your authentication to proprietary providers like Facebook, Google, or other providers. So in this case, you redirect your application to these providers, and they are going to return you back the user information, so that after that you can use that user information in your application. If you look at this remote authentication, it comes in two different buckets. I mean, either you can use this proprietary providers, or there is broader concepts like OpenID Connect or WS Federation to to provide this external authentication. And another thing is JSON Web Token. Whenever you have API, you need to use JWT token authentication in your system. And if you look at this, it is highly possible that you want to mix and match uh, all these different type of authentication in your system, and uh, all of them needs to live together peacefully. For example, if you are going to use uh, remote authentication, at the end you need to pass this information to cookie based authentication, and save this information in the cookie to be able to use this authentication, this user information in other part of your application. Okay. So how we are going to add this handler in your .NET Core application? Uh, Sorry. Okay. So uh, each time, as I told you, each time when we want to add new service to our application, we need to add that service and kind of configure that service. So we have this add authentication service, and after that, this add authentication service comes with different extension methods, convenient extension method to add different type of authentication, and configure them. So let's go back to our application. So it means that here we need to add our uh, authentication service, and after that we need to add uh, add our handlers and configure specific handlers to our application. So as we saw in the simplest one, and the the first thing that we want to use in our web-based application, is cookie based cookie based handler. The first thing that we need to define when we add new handler, we need to define the scheme name. So, for example, here I define my cookie scheme name, um, cookies or cookie. So, and after that, we are going to configure our handler by action of T. So right now I can configure my cookie authentication. There are several options that I can configure. For example, cookie name. I want to set it like demo, uh, like mm, expire time span. I want to make this cookie available for 1 hour, for 8 hours. Basically, one day, one working day, or I can configure many things. Another important thing that we need to configure for each handler is uh, challenge scheme. If I go back to to the exception. Here we need to define a challenge scheme for because we need to give a way to user to fix the issue. I mean, in this case, we need to define if user is not authenticated, where should user go to fix the issue. So in this case, I have to define login paths for this handler. I already created this page so that if user uh, tries to access any endpoint that is decorated by, I mean, the, that endpoint is decorated by authorization attribute. So if user is not logged in, we have to navigate user to login page to be able to log in and go back to that page. So each time we add any handler or any service to our DI, we need to hook that service or handler at some point and find out. Based on the requirement, if that handler is I mean for example, in this case, if user is present, is user object is present or not. For this we need, in this case, we need authentication handler. And if you look at our middleware pipeline, it's like a linked list. So here, the position, the when where we are going to put this middleware is important. This middleware should be coming before authorization, because before authorization we need to make sure that user is present, and we need to make sure that we have the user information in our HTTP context. So here we need to add authentication middleware to our pipeline. Right now, what happens is if a user tries to access any endpoint that is decorated with, let me go back to our secure endpoint, that it requires authorization. First, first in the authentication middleware, it's going to redirect back user to our challenge or default challenge, in this case URL, to be logged in. One thing that I forgot to tell you is here in our add authentication service, we have to define our default authentication uh, scheme. So each time, if we don't, later I will show you, and there are some extension method or that you can call, and either you can define your you want to call which kind of which scheme, or if you don't define, it's going to fall back to your default authentication scheme. Okay, here I created very simple login page. It's going to get the username and password, and we can sign in user, or add the user to HTTP context if the user is valid. Okay, how we are going to create user? The first thing that we need to know, I mean, for adding identity, the first step is adding, having a bunch of claims that you can attach to that identity. So here we have claims, claims identities. So I'm gonna copy paste my code here. So um, I mean, for the claims, um, you can attach a bunch of claim to your user, but the most important claim is subject ID. Subject ID is like, it should be immutable. Unique number for each user, which you can go back to your database and fetch the all related information for that user. But you can attach another claims. One thing that you need to keep in mind is, because at the end all this information is going to reside um in the cookie. You should keep this object small. Not attaching a lot of information to the claim. But there are some claims that they are maybe useful. For example, name. You don't want to go to each time to each page to your database to fetch the username or role. uh, it I mean So you can add these claims uh, to your identity. Next step is adding claim identity. uh, Sorry. Uh, what is claim identity? uh, Claim identity. um, so if you want to create successful claim identity, if you look at the claim identity, it has several uh, if you several um, um, imp- base constructor. But if you want to create a successful claim identity, you have to create. Have this. These four. These four. You have to set these four fields. First thing is you have to pass claims. You have to pass how the user authenticated. In this case was password. What is the claim for the name, and what is the claim for the role. Next step, creating claim principle. Principle is just a uh, wrapper around um, claim identity. And right now you have the user information that you can attach to your HTTP context. But how you can attach the user, this user information to your, to the HTTP context. Okay, here we need to take a look at another context. So you need a way to interact with the authentication service. Uh, as you know, we can have multiple authentication schemes. So uh, we need another abstraction to make this simpler for us. So we have this I authentication service. This I authentication service has four methods. Two of them, these two, are for session management. So you can pass uh, HTTP context, and your claim principle, and your scheme to sign in your application based on your scheme. And we have another extension methods, I mean convenience extension methods for HTTP context to use this authentication service, and I mean make this process easier for you. So here you can easily use your HTTP context, sign in async, and pass your. So here I need to wait for my sign in async. So if you look at this sign in async, it has two constructor. You can pass a scheme, but if you don't pass a scheme, it's going to use your default scheme, which we set here, which is cookies scheme. So in this point, it's going to use cookies scheme to sign in the application. I mean, sign in the user. I mean, add the user to the HTTP. I mean, to the HTTP context, and to be able to be used in the middleware, authentication middleware. And the last step is redirecting user to wherever that was called. I mean, uh, from the beginning. Here we have this redirect method, uh, but if you use this redirect method, uh, it opens open read. I mean, your application will be vulnerable to open redirect security. I'm gonna explain what would happen if you use redirect in the next video, but here I just uh, uh, tell you it is you in this case you need to use local redirect method to or to return uh, to the secure page. Okay, so right now we have everything set up. We added the user, we signed the user, and we redirected to the secure page. I will continue. I mean, going more into details in the next video. Thank you very much for looking at this video. Have a good day.